I'm Amy, the Angry Yogi. I am a massage therapist and a yoga instructor, and I have a holistic health center in Latonia, Kentucky. And in light of the global pandemic, things are a little dicey, so I thought that I would put my stuff online, really because I had a couple Facebook friends suggest it, and I'm like, yeah, I should do that. So here we are. So my philosophy in yoga is a little bit different than, a lot of the more formal studios, I guess you would say. My studio is very small and intimate, and we create a safe place for people. A couple of my instructors, including myself, are specialized in trauma-sensitive yoga. And I think that's something that's important because most of the world is suffering from some sort of trauma. And there is a way to move that energy, and the best way is through yoga. So I don't really focus on what the poses look like. It doesn't really matter to me what the poses look like. So really just go by how they feel, how the stretches feel. There are things that you can do for safe body mechanics, but otherwise just do what feels right. We are meeting your body wherever it is. We are not pushing past any limits. We come to the edge and we wait. And the flexibility, the balance, the strength, the endurance, all of that comes later. The hardest part is showing up to your mat. The hardest part is showing up for the first time to your mat. So I am gonna gear this more towards beginners, but anyone can join in. And so here we go. So the cool thing about yoga is that you really don't need any equipment. I'll be using some things, I'll explain what they are. A mat is helpful. If you don't have a mat, then I would recommend like a non-slippery surface. But yoga is awesome because it's so good for your body and your mind, and you don't really need anything to do it. You can do it anywhere. Even if you're just like sitting in a chair, you can do like some neck stretches and connect it with your breathing, and you're like a whole new person right away. Okay, so a good mat, here we are. I like to sit on blocks. These are yoga blocks. They're pretty cheap. They are, a couple bucks a piece, and they're worth it. I have really tight hips, and it allows your knees to come down from your hips so you can sit in a seated posture for longer than normal without being in pain. It's getting real now. We're losing the glasses. All right, I want you to come to a comfortable seated position. Close your eyes. And bring your hands to heart center. Arrive at your mat by taking a few deep breaths. Inhaling to capacity and fully expelling all of the air. Inhale, fill the lungs. Exhale deep enough to where you feel the ribs close down on one another. I'd like you to picture roots like a tree coming down from your tailbone, going deep into the earth. This is your connection to the earth, and it's a way to release anything that's no longer serving you. At the same time, picture a bright white light coming out of your heart space and going infinitely up into the sky. This is your divine connection, whatever that means to you, and it's a cleansing and healing light. So with every inhale, we're taking purifying breaths, and with every exhale, we're letting go. Next, picture a pyramid around you. This is your pyramid of safety. Only the highest vibrations of love and light can come in through the top of your pyramid. And finally, on the outside of this pyramid is a mirror. And this reflects away anything that's not for your greater good. With the roots, we're grounded. With the light, we're connected. With the pyramid, we're protected. And with the mirror, we're shielded. You can come back to this pyramid of safety at any point during the practice. Every pose is an invitation only. If something doesn't feel right, don't do it. Take a final inhale through the nose and a cleansing exhale through the mouth. You can release your hands, roll the ankles. We're going to start with some gentle spinal warm-ups. On an inhale, raise the arms up high, creating space between the shoulders and the ears. On an exhale, bring the right palm to the floor. We're stretching over to the right side, opening up the left rib cage and pushing the left hip towards the floor. Take a few breaths here. Inhale, raise high. Exhale, bring the left arm down. We're stretching over to the left, opening the right side body. Really breathe into the lungs here. Open up the ribs. Inhale up to center. One more time each side. Exhale down. Push your hip towards the floor. Inhale up high. Exhale down to the left. Inhale high. Exhale, release. If you're sitting on blocks, come off of them. We're going to come to tabletop. If you have sensitive knees or wrists, you can either use a blanket to pad your hands or your knees, or you can actually roll your mat and use that as padding. But whatever you need to do to make yourself comfortable, just take the time to do that. It's not a race, it's a practice. We're coming to tabletop with our shoulders stacked over our wrists, our hips are over our knees. Very gently, we're raising our chin, opening the collarbone, and letting the belly hang low. On an exhale, tuck the chin, push the shoulders to the ceiling, and tuck the tailbone under. Inhale, open. Exhale down. Inhale, open. Exhale down. Inhale to a neutral spine. We're gently lifting the right arm up, opening towards the ceiling. On an exhale, we're slowly feeding it down under the left. Palm can be up or down. Your cheek comes to the floor. Hips stay in the air. The left arm can stay bent for support, or it can straighten in front of you, or you can bend it behind you. The choice is yours, but just try to sink down into the bottom shoulder. On an exhale, bring your palm back to the mat. Inhaling slowly, we're reaching up with the right arm towards the ceiling. One more time. Exhale to the floor. Inhale, left arm up, opening the ribs. We hold a lot of inflammation in the ribs. These side stretches do a lot of good. On an exhale, we're coming down, feeding under the right arm. Our cheek comes to the floor, hips stay in the air. Your choice. Your arm can stay bent, can come forward, it can come behind you. Sink into that front shoulder. On an exhale, bring your right palm back to the mat. Inhale, slowly lift and rise. Exhale to the floor. Take a moment to just do a little circle, a couple of circles, stretching into the wrists. When you come around, you should change the pressure in your palms so that you're massaging the palms down into the mat. Do that a few times and then change direction. Now I want you to tuck your toes. Shift your weight back into your feet. You can walk your palms a little closer to your knees. Just take a moment to breathe into the bottoms of your feet. We rarely think about stretching our feet, and we're on them all day long. Inhale, walk your palms forward, roll your ankles. One more time, tuck the toes, walk your palms back. If it's okay, you can come up on to your knees. But if it's too much pressure and you're not able to relax and sink down into the stretch, then just stay with some weight on your hands. Inhale, come forward, release the feet and roll the ankles. Tuck your toes again, and this time we're gently pushing our hips up and back, extending the arms long. It's okay if you need to keep your knees bent. It's okay if your feet don't come flat to the floor. The goal here is to push the shoulders away from the ears towards the hips, making your spine as long as possible. You can bend one leg at a time, shift the weight from hip to hip. This is your practice. You do what feels right for your body. Check in with your breathing, take a few deep breaths. And very slowly start to walk your palms back towards your feet. And you can bend your knees as much as you need to here. When you get to the back of your mat, bend your knees deeply. Allow your torso to rest on the tops of your legs. And just slowly relax your head down. You're going to feel a long pull down your entire spine. We're trying to undo what gravity does to us all day. If you feel stable here, you can grab for opposite elbows. Try to take some deep breaths while you're resting on your legs. It massages the internal organs. You should start to feel some heat building in the backs of your legs now. So try straightening them just a little. You always want to have a little bit of give in your knees. They should never be rigidly straight. On the exhale, bend your knees a little bit, let go of your arms, and just slowly roll up one vertebra at a time. Your head and arms are dead weight. And the head is the very last thing to come upright. You might have felt some pops and clicks on the way up, and that's a good thing. Inhale the arms up high. Exhale, swan dive. We're walking forward with our palms. You can either come to plank or modified plank by dropping your knees. Exhale, belly, chest, chin. The palms are under the shoulders, elbows are hugged in tight. Tops of the feet push into the mat. On an inhale, we're engaging the core and lifting our upper body. There should not be weight in your hands. On an exhale, push your weight back over the knees. We're extending into child's pose here. Rest your forehead on the mat. Pull the shoulders away from the ears. Sink the hips back. And just breathe. On your next inhale, walk your palms over to the left side. And rest your forehead back down. Inhale, walk back to center. On the next exhale, we're walking over to the right. Gently rest down. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, shift your weight back to tabletop. We're tucking our toes. And again, on an exhale, push up to downward facing dog. This one should feel a little easier than the first one. But again, take your time, feel your way into it. Do a body scan. Identify where your places of tightness and tension are. And that's where you want to send your exhales during your practice. Inhale the right leg up, keeping your hips squared to the floor. Try to keep the left foot down. We're bending the right knee and opening the hip, keeping the upper body stationary. You should be pushing your palms out and away, your shoulders out and away, creating long space. Inhale back to center. On an exhale, we're swinging our foot forward, planting it between our palms. You can drop the back knee. Engage your core. On an inhale, we're rising up. Squeeze your butt, squeeze your legs, squeeze your core. This is a full body motion. On an exhale, we're opening up towards our bent knee. Inhale, rise. On an exhale, we're opening away from the bent knee. Inhale to center. Exhale the palms on either side of your foot. We're shifting our weight back just so that we can stretch into the back of the right leg. So you can lift the heel if you want. The higher you lift the heel, the more intense of a stretch you'll get. But just try to melt your upper body down. Inhale, shift your weight forward. We're tucking our back toes. On an exhale, send your foot back to meet the other. You can hover here in plank, or you can drop your knees for a modified plank. On an exhale, we're coming down. Either hover in chaturanga or belly, chest, chin. On an inhale, we're shifting our weight forward to either up dog or baby cobra. On an exhale, we're folding over our feet, pushing our hips back, downward facing dog. Inhale the left leg up high. Try to keep the right heel down. We're bending the left knee, opening up, pushing away with our shoulders. Inhale back to center. Exhale, we're swinging our foot forward, planting it between our hands. Drop the back knee, engage the core, squeeze the legs. Inhale, rise. On an exhale, we're opening up towards the front knee. Inhale, center. Exhale, open away from the front knee. Inhale, center. Exhale the palms down on either side of the front foot. Shift the weight back until you feel a good stretch in the back of your leg. And try to relax as much as you can here, even though it is an active stretch. Inhale, shift your weight forward, tuck the back toes. On an exhale, we're sending our leg back. I'm gonna do the modified version this time. You can drop your knees or sink down to chaturanga. Pull the arms in. You can either rise up to up dog or baby cobra. No weight in the hands. On an exhale, we're folding back, tucking the toes, pushing to downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg up high again. Exhale, bend the knee, open the hip. Inhale back to center. This time on the exhale, we're swinging our leg through and coming to pigeon. So you want the front leg flexed, the knee comes towards the wrist, and you want both of your hips to try to stay square. This is hard to do because most everyone has a hip imbalance. Pigeon is challenging, but it's so good for you, opening these hips. So to begin with, we'll just stay here upright. I did want to show if you need support under this back hip, the bent leg, you can use a block or you can use a blanket. Whatever you need, whatever's around, just make it to where it's manageable. We're not trying to feel any pain. There should not be any pinching or burning in the knee. If so, then you need to ease up and let it out some. But again, the focus is on keeping our hips square. If you're able to, you can come down to your forearms or even some blocks. You can come here. If you find yourself getting frustrated, try counting your breaths. And send your exhales to those really tight places where you feel the muscles catching. inhale, we're walking our palms back close to our hips. Just roll onto your right hip so that you can come out of that safely. And then straighten your legs and just bring the circulation back in. We'll take a little pause before we do the other side. So sit on your palms with the fingers facing in. The spine is relatively straight. On an exhale, allow right ear to come towards right shoulder. Now turn your nose towards the right armpit. Slowly work your way chin to chest by stopping and stretching wherever you're feeling a really tight spot. When your chin is tucked, try gently turning your head side to side so that you target the top two vertebrae. These muscles hold our head upright all day long. They are tired and tight and sore. Slowly start to work your way up the opposite side, pausing wherever you get a good stretch. And turn your nose towards the left armpit. Slowly rise back to center. You can let go of your hands, shake the blood back in. All right, let's come back to tabletop. We're tucking our toes. On an exhale, send the hips back. Pedal it out. You might still be feeling the effects of the pigeon. On an inhale, we're lifting the left leg, keeping our hips square to the floor. Bend the knee down, open the hip, keeping the shoulders square to the floor. Inhale back to center. On the exhale, we're bringing our leg forward, left knee towards the left wrist. Keep that front foot flexed. Walk your right leg back. Keep the hips square. If you need support under the left hip, tuck a block or a blanket under there. And again, be mindful of your knee. If you feel ready, you can sink down to your elbows or the blocks. palms back close to your leg. We're shifting our weight onto the left hip so that we can unhinge safely. Bring the legs forward. Bring the circulation back in. All right, so we're gonna do a little bit of restorative type stretching. So we're gonna slow it down even more. And I like to pad the mat. So if you don't have, like, you can use any kind of blanket to pad your mat, or you can use two mats, one on top of the other. If you have a strap, that would be handy. I don't have a strap. I have my yoga mat strap, or a scarf, or a belt. It doesn't really matter. So we're coming down to our backs. And since we haven't laid flat yet, just bring the knees in and just gently rock side to side. Massage your spine out on the floor. When you're ready, come back to center and grab whatever prop you have to stretch their hamstrings. So we're bringing the right foot up and placing it in the center of your strap or your scarf or whatever it is that you're using. And we're holding it with both hands with our shoulders resting on the floor. It's okay if you don't get your legs straight. The left leg can be bent or straight. We're just gonna hold here and breathe into the back of the hamstrings. A lot of times tight hamstrings, well, and quads, a lot of times tightness from the legs causes hip issues, which eventually causes back issues. So if everyone would just take the time to stretch a little bit every day, it would prevent a lot of injuries. Okay, we're taking the strap into our left hand and we're releasing the right. Is that right? Yeah. And on an exhale, we're folding across our bodies until this right shoulder wants to pop up off the floor, and that's where we wait. So you're gonna feel like an intense stretch down the IT band and the outer hip. If you want an added neck stretch, you can look towards your right palm. Inhale, come back to center. We're switching hands. Relax the left arm. On your next exhale, we're opening up to the right. So if this left hip wants to come up off the floor, then try bending that knee and planting the foot. Inhale, come back to center. And we're just switching our feet. So to start off, We hold with both hands and our shoulders are resting on the floor. Take the strap into the right hand, release the left. On your next exhale, we're folding across our bodies until the left shoulder wants to come off the floor. And that's where we wait and breathe into the side leg. Option to turn your head, look towards your left palm. Inhale, come back to center. We're switching hands. On the next exhale, open up to the left. And again, if the right hip won't stay down, try bending the knee and planting the foot. Inhale, come back to center. Bring your foot out of the strap. Hug the knees in. And again, rock side to side. From here, cross one foot over the other. We're holding our feet down just so that we feel a stretch in the front of the shin and ankle. We're not trying to crank ourselves into any kind of weird position. Just hold here. Shoulders down. And you don't have to, but I really like to rock side to side when I do this because it massages the sacrum down into the mat. Release your feet and roll the ankles. And then whatever leg you had on top, switch it. This is Limbo. She's a sweet kitty. She likes to chill when I do yoga. She feels the vibes. How are you, kitty? Okay, release your feet, roll the ankles. From here, let's plant the right leg. We're crossing the left ankle over the right knee. The arms come out. This time, bring them to a gold post position. It just gives you a different shoulder opener. On an exhale, we're allowing the legs to come over to the right side until the left foot touches the floor. If you can't go that far without hurting your low back, then use a block. They're like extensions of your body. So you can come to here. Just make sure that it feels good and that it's not hurting. Duh, right? Don't do what hurts. If it hurts, it's not right. If this feels good and you want to stay here, then please do. If you want a deeper stretch, you can straighten the right leg and just use your right hand to guide the left knee down further. Look back towards your left hand. Slowly roll back to center. Bring your feet to the edges of your mat. The knees come together and just slowly windshield wipe the knees back and forth. Okay, time for the other side. So we're planting the left foot, the right ankle crosses over, arms come back out to a gold post. Exhale over until your foot touches the floor or a block. If you want a deeper stretch, slowly straighten the bottom leg and guide the knee down to the floor. Option to look back at your right palm. On an exhale, release. Just roll back to your back. And we will come to Shavasana. That is the final pose. And it is the easiest pose, but it's like physically it's the easiest pose, but it is challenging because the mind wants to wander. But I suggest making it very comfortable. Traditionally, it's just lying in corpse pose. And you can do that, or you can make it really comfortable. And I like to use a bolster. This is a bolster. If you don't have a bolster, pillows will work. Any kind of pillow. Just place it under the knees. You can also make a neck roll, like a roll for your neck. Let's use a blanket for that. Put the neck roll here, pillow or bolster under the knees. Get comfortable. So Shavasana is time to listen to what your body is telling you. It's always trying to speak to us. But we're usually so disconnected that we aren't paying attention to what it's saying. can take however long you want for Shavasana. So if you want to pause this video, you can do that. Otherwise, roll to your right side and take a few breaths there. When you're ready, we will all meet back at seated. Close your eyes and bring your hands back to heart center. Think about how your body is feeling now compared to when you first started. Just know that no matter how crazy life gets, this peace is always available to you. Thank you for watching. Namaste.